Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Anfield Index. It's your home of all the latest and I want to say greatest, but not all of it's great today. Let's be honest. But it's been an interesting few hours. This morning in particular has seen all sorts of news come out, and you can find it all on the Substack. It was always liverpool.co.uk. You get all the latest information over there and all the great articles. There was an incredibly detailed one today coming from Eddie, our own Eddie, who put up one regarding the breaking news this morning, that is Dominic Szoboszlai has entered contract talks with Liverpool. Now, initially, the title of this now, it says Curtis Jones, Liverpool exit plan. We were going to talk more about Curtis Jones because when this was planned out, there wasn't any sort of breaking developments. But as of today, it's been reported that Dominic Szoboszlai, Liverpool's number 8, one of the standout players of our season so far, has entered contract talks with Liverpool. Now, what do we make of this? Because these are the comments that he had to actually make regarding the information. So it was reported today via The Athletic. Of course, I am happy here, but you know how football works, and that is something everybody has to take into account. There is always progress, but no decision has been made. I'll just keep on going every week, every training session, giving my best for the team and for the fans. Let's see what is going to happen in the future. There has been talks, but for sure, not any decision has been made. So what do we know so far about Szoboszlai's contract? Well, at the moment, he's got a contract until 2027. Him, Gravenberch, and McAllister, who supposedly all three of them are in discussions with new contracts. I think rightfully so. But Szoboszlai's here till 2027. And this season, he's certainly warranted this type of deal, this type of, we need contract discussions going on with Szoboszlai. He's proven how indispensable he is this season. And I understand that for a lot of people, there's discussions over, well, his goals, his assists. I think he's on 6 goals and 5 assists in all competitions, which isn't a vast amount when you think about it. And he probably could be contributing more. But what he's offered both on the ball and off the ball this season, I dread to think where we'd be without him. And I don't think we'd be in a top 4 race. I don't think we'd be where we are in the table without Szoboszlai. He is warranted starting every single match. There's a reason why when we need a makeshift right back, he's the one in the team because he's just so influential in how we play. And I'm happy to see the contract talks have finally started up with the Hungarian international. Now, what this is obviously it's a good jumping off point now for whatever manager does come in, or if Slot's still here. I think Dominic Szoboszlai is someone who, in particular, whatever manager comes in, whatever style you want to play, he's a very well all-round versed player. He's defensively capable. He's great in attacking transitions. He can drift out wide if you need him to. He's great playing in the pockets in between midfield and defense. He can also play as a pivot if you need him to. His energy, his work rate, his tenacity, shot creating actions, goal creating actions. So Szoboszlai this season has really grew into his own. He's become a player who stands out amongst the herd. And in a season where we've been struggling, that's no secret, it's great to see that a few players have stepped up in recent weeks. It's been Vert. Ekitike obviously has done what he's been doing. Kirk has started to come good in the past few games, but Szoboszlai has been a consistency throughout this season. And I think he is deserving of these contract talks. There's apparently reports going around that Liverpool view him as a future captain. Wouldn't be opposed to the idea. Andrew Robertson's currently the vice captain. He's going to be 32 soon. Van Dijk's going to be 35. He is the club captain. He's only got 1 year left on his contract after this season. Will he see that out? Dominic Szoboszlai for me he just feels like a sort of natural heir to the throne in that regard. Maybe it's a bit too soon to say, but there was a great, like I said on the Substack before, on it was always liverpool.com, a great article that Eddie put out where he was talking about Liverpool and contract situations. Now, for the longest time, Liverpool have prided themselves on being very proactive as opposed to reactive. We've been a club who have prided ourselves on the fact that we get deals done early. Fabinho, I think, is one of the biggest examples recently. Van Dijk, we couldn't get him in the summer, so immediately as soon as January opened, we went in for him. We've always sort of prided ourselves on being a club who know what we want and we get in there quick and get it done. But in recent years, contracts have been anything but that. In recent years, contracts have been our Achilles heel, so to speak, in terms of how we are ran as a club. And you can give literally 4 examples from the past year. Ibrahima Konate, he's a first teamer, not in his best run of form, of course, but we've allowed him into the final year of his contract. And apparently there's been discussions ongoing with him for 15 months. Van Dijk, club captain, got to the last year of his deal. Salah, greatest right winger in Liverpool's history, one of the best to ever do it despite this season, got him into the final year. Trent, Scouser, right back, wanted a new challenge, let him get to that point, and he left. And Liverpool in recent years have shown that we cannot afford to handle or mishandle these contract situations. And Dominic Szoboszlai right now is a great jumping off point for any new manager who may come in, or if Slot is still going to be here. He's a vital component. And he's someone who expresses, like he says in the article, professionalism, physical durability, leadership. He's got it written all over him. And we need to prioritize keeping these players. It's all well and good us saying, right, we'll bring in an Isak, a Vert, a Frimpong, a Kirkes, making sure that the key components who are already part of your team, who are already here, signing them on these contracts to make sure that you can build a team around them is massive. And Liverpool, the way that we operate this self-sustaining business model, and it's a very data-driven approach. There's no room for sentimentality. Maybe with Van Dijk and Salah there was a little bit, but we need to consider the future now more than ever with a lot of uncertainty going on. And Dominic Szoboszlai is the future of Liverpool. He's one of the big components going forward who can represent a major improvement in Liverpool going forward. And despite the fact that we've been really poor, despite the fact of everything going on, he is still statistically one of the best players in the Premier League. Europe, of course, you can debate all you want, but the man is an absolute monster for Liverpool. Top 1% of Premier League midfielders for progressive passes on 7.18. He is the second highest progressive passer in the Liverpool team, I believe. Let me just check that one just to make sure that is 100% right. He ranks in like the top areas for most Liverpool metrics. So he's third for progressive carries. He is second for progressive passes. I was completely correct, behind Virgil van Dijk. He is one of the highest tacklers in the Liverpool squad. He's one of the most creative players in the Liverpool squad currently. Shots from free kicks don't matter, but this is the passing metrics for Liverpool. Look at how important he is for this squad. Passes completed, passes attempted, total passing distance, passes short, medium, and long. He ranks in the top 10% for each of these metrics compared to Premier League midfielders. Passes into the final third, progressive passes. And at a time where Liverpool are lacking creativity and we're lacking that attacking edge and someone who's able to really pick teams apart with incisive balls, Dominic Szoboszlai offers you that. And we've got players like Ekitike, who's crying out for someone to be alongside him who he can link up with to unleash his creativity or his partner's creativity, and Vert to start to fill that role. We saw that against Burnley. We've seen it in multitude of matches in recent weeks. So Szoboszlai is the starting point for all that. He allows those attacking players, the Verts, the Ekitikes, the Salahs, the Gakpos, he allows them to go forward because he covers the hard yards behind them. If we need an overlap on the left, he can do that. If we need an overlap on the right, he's capable of doing that. We've seen that over the past few months or weeks when Salah's been at AFCON, or he's been in and out of the team or on the bench. There's a reason why whenever he is getting the ball and people think he's in a goal-scoring opportunity, it's from the edge of the box, not in the box. And that's because he's so important following up behind those attacking players. But he's a deep-line creative player. He's also a very attack-minded player. His crosses on 5.32 showcase him when he can drift out into the wide. His switches of play. He's in the top 7% on 0.4. Very creative player. Passes completed, like I said, top 1%. His shot creating actions, 4.22. But then it's also this. It's his defensive work as well. Clearances is in the top 5%. He's registering 2.06 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes. He's in the top 9% for shots blocked, top 11% for dribblers tackled. And tackles in the defensive third, he's on 0.83. Now, while that may not sound like such a massive statistic in terms of, the overall spectrum of things in the Liverpool squad, that puts him third for tackles in the defensive third for Liverpool, behind Ryan Gravenberch, and actually level with Ibrahima Konate. So he's actually second. Dominic Szoboszlai boasts more tackles in the defensive third of the pitch than Virgil van Dijk by over double the amount. That's how influential he is in that back line. Midfield third as well. He's put in 8, which is more than the likes of, Hugo Ekitike, of course, but Van Dijk, Robertson, Frimpong, these players who the back line pushes up into that midfield, essentially winning 8 tackles there. That'll go towards the metric, but he's got more than all them. He's third for tackles in the attack and third behind only Florian Wirtz and Alexis McAllister, surprisingly enough. Tackles, he's top for the Liverpool team. He's got the most tackles attempted. He boasts the 7th highest tackle success rate. He's an all-round brilliant player for us. And I think for Liverpool now, we lack stability. And there's a lot of question marks and a lot of instances where it just feels as though things are up in the air. Szoboszlai provides you with that. What the contract will be, we don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of contract talk going on at the moment because Gahey just signed this 300k a week deal. Salah, Van Dijk sort of broke the news. Not the news, broke the barrier when it comes to contract wages. What will Szoboszlai be offered? I think he does need to be sort of towards the top end. And now, I'm not saying he's one of the greatest midfielders we've ever had, but you cannot deny the importance of Dominik Szoboszlai in this team. He can operate in that double pivot. He can operate in a single pivot. He can drift into wide positions if he needs him to. He's filled in at right back, and he's done a respectable job for someone who's not a natural right back. His successful take-on percentage, his carries overall, passes received, he's so influential for this team. And I'm happy that he is getting a new contract. Whether he agrees to it or not, I think it's going to be interesting because Szoboszlai is going to have his pick of the bunch. I don't think he's going to let his contract run down. Liverpool cannot allow that situation to happen with someone as important to the squad as him. But he is going to have his pick of teams. I can see him he could go to a Real Madrid and I think he'd absolutely smash it. He could go to a Bayern Munich and I think the same thing. He could go to pretty much any team and I think he would be a brilliant quality player. And his mentality has just shifted so much this season where he's stepped up when others haven't. Comments coming in. Nem says, hi. Do a video on best replacements for Slot. I did on my channel. I don't know if I can plug that, but yeah, I did one on my channel anyway. Not the best, but just the 10 candidates who are being linked with the job and giving my thoughts on them. Transfer Talk Intensifies, not seeing it. To be honest, Transfer Talk, we've the initial plan for today was to talk about Curtis Jones, and there has been links to Yandy Amande, who, whether he or not he would come in. Nico Schlotterbeck is another player who we're going to touch on briefly today. There has been some links. It's just actually getting it done, which is the big thing. We have to sell to buy. We're pretty much frozen. Roster maxed out until summer. I don't know if we are in that position, to be honest. I think in the summer, it was one in, one out kind of situation. We actually sold more players than we bring in. And I don't think we are necessarily in that position. We did spend a lot of money in the summer, but the reports are saying that Liverpool are not going to spend in January. They're just seeing it as a transitional season. We're just planning to get top 4 and then go from there. And then in the summer, we will look to recuperate and rebuild from where we are and look at, bringing in a lot more players, which by that point, who will be leaving? Could Salah be leaving? We don't know. It's a very strange time. I can't the fact that we spent the money we did, and I cannot, there's not really been many instances of us spending money vastly in the summer. This is the biggest we've spent, of course. To be in a situation like that where it's now January and we need to bring in more, it's such a strange thing. So I don't think it necessarily means the roster's maxed out, so to speak, because there's still areas of the pitch where we need improvement. There's still gaps. We need another left winger. We need the number 6, in my opinion. We need more centre-backs, absolutely. We're going to need a right winger soon. So the roster's not maxed out per se. It's just maybe the areas we signed in summer, maybe we could have focused elsewhere. I gave my thoughts on the 2-striker situation the other day. I love having Ekitike and Isak, of course, but maybe we didn't need both. Maybe we could have strengthened in the back. I don't know. But the defence needs to be something that we're building going forward. But with the Szoboszlai thing, I think keeping him on a new deal, vital to this team, vital to the way in which we operate, in the way Slot operates, in the way any manager that comes in, be it a Xabi Alonso, be it it could be a Luis Enrique. We never know. But any manager with their style would benefit from having a box-to-box style winger, midfielder who is brilliant in a double pivot, capable in a single pivot if you absolutely need him to, can play a multitude of positions, can play through the lines, can find that space out wide to create overloads alongside Gakpo or Wirtz. Any manager would be happy having a Dominic Szoboszlai in the team. So I'm happy that he is going to be getting or is in discussions to get a new contract. As he says, nothing has been agreed just yet. Nothing has been finalized. It's just all up in the air discussions at the moment, but they are in talks. We have gone backwards and slot ball is sideways, backwards, dross. It is looking like that on the eye, but actually, in terms of the league, I think Liverpool are second for progressive passes and passes into the penalty area. We do produce those chances, it's just we don't take our chances. We've gone from having the most shots in the division with like the second highest shot on target percentage to we've dropped to fifth or sixth, I can't quite remember, and we have the lowest shot on target percentage. So we lack someone up top to finish the chances. It's not that we're not creating, it's not that we're not putting the ball into dangerous areas. We just haven't had someone there who can consistently find the back of the net. Gakpo's lower in the percentage. Salah has been off it. Isak's injured. You're relying on Ekitike and Wirtz to do that, and everyone else around them, McAllister, Szoboszlai, they're taking shots from miles out because of deep blocks, and there's no one in front of them who can conclusively find the back of the net that isn't named Hugo Ekitike or Florian Wirtz at the minute. So I think that as much as it has been, possession-based, passes side to side, switch play, try and find gaps, it's because we're lacking a real striker at the moment up top or other options around him to support Ekitike who can also find the back of the net, because Gakpo's not doing it, Salah's not doing it, Chiesa's not doing it, and Gamoa's not getting minutes to try and do it. And then you're relying on your midfielders behind them to just try and make something happen. And it's either from miles out or they have to break down 3 or 4 players just to actually be in the box to take a shot. So I think that's a big thing for it. Our non-homegrown roster is maxed out, requires Sell to open a spot. Homegrown, we have spots. Homegrown, we do have spots. And I think that's why Gahey was frustrating. He's obviously a homegrown player. I think with the non-homegrown bit, there is that. But I think there's a couple players in this squad who I wouldn't be surprised if they left in the summer. Which I'll get the Liverpool squad and we can sort of, we're not going to spend too long talking about, who's going to stay, who's going to go. But like Endo is one player who will not be here, let's face it. Chiesa, probably the same with him. There's no guarantee that Salah necessarily sticks around. I wouldn't be shocked if he was to leave. Konate is going to be going. So that right there, that's 4 of your non-homegrown players who are looking set to be leaving in the summer. So, or could be leaving in the summer, so to speak. So there's 4 gaps there opening up. So I take that on board. I understand what you're saying, but there is going to be available spots. We're probably going to have to sell before we buy, like we all know we normally do. And then we'll go out and spend. What right winger would you go for? Yan Diomande can play on the right-hand side. Nusa would be another great player, RB Leipzig. Let me just see if I can pronounce his name correctly. The Feyenoord winger. Let me just see. Let me just get the squad up really quick. Feyenoord squad. I can never pronounce his name. Where are you? Can't find his name. There's a winger at Feyenoord, a brilliant one who's been superb, but I'm really struggling. I can never pronounce it because it's such a strange name. I will come back to that one. But yeah. Yeah, there's a few options. I think Diomande is the one that pretty much everyone is wanting at the moment. There he is. Anis Haji Musa, I think, would be a brilliant player that Liverpool could potentially look at. I'll cast the stats up onto the screen for you now. And then we will go on back into the more comments and carry on with the state of things. But yes, Anis Haji Musa is a spectacular player in certain areas. He's a very quick, very, very direct player. I'm going to compare him to the sort of European leagues at certain points. But yeah, it's his switches, his plays, his overall crosses. He's very much a fast player who can get in behind and play off the last man. Let me just get there we go. Put him in the Eredivisie because they tend to inflate them. There we go. So yeah, goals, top 16%. This is for Feyenoord. So obviously there's that whole connection with Slot, which could be a big thing if we do still have Slot. Progressive passes received is on 9.85. He is someone who likes to play off the shoulder of the last man. He is someone who enjoys space in behind, but he's also capable of, he can invert if you need him to and play alongside your striker. He's a very, very talented player, Haji Musa. He's someone else I'd be looking at for getting for Liverpool if the option was there. 5 goals, 3 assists in 16 matches played in the Eredivisie. One goal in the Europa League also, which, it isn't the biggest thing, but you look at Gakpo's numbers this season, but Gakpo's biggest deficiency, I think, goals is one thing, but it's his work off the ball and on the ball. He's just felt ineffective. Whereas Haji Musa, you see here his key passes, 2.3 per 90 minutes, passes into the penalty area, crosses into the penalty area. He's a very fast player, but he's someone who wants to provide for others in the top 2% of Eredivisie wingers for crosses into the box. Dead ball passes, you can't take too much from that one, but shot creating actions, 5.25 per 90 minutes, which is in the top 2% of wingers in that division. Goal creating actions, he's someone I would consider looking for. He's sort of going on the cheap as well, but he's also very high in terms of take-ons, the successful take-ons. He is someone I would like to see if we were a bit of a pinch. I don't know how it would translate to the Premier League, but I think Nusa, Diamande, Anis Haji Musa would be a good player as well if we were to go for him. They're just a couple options. Hello, all, says Till Sheehan. Hello, all. Jones isn't leaving Liverpool. I hope not. And we'll touch on Jones now because, I think the rumors and discussions have been that Curtis Jones supposedly is being linked with a move to Tottenham Hotspur, according to Paul Joyce. Now, let's sort of just look at this. There's so many people at the moment who view Curtis Jones as nothing more than a bang average player. And I'm very much someone, if you know who I am, or you've seen me on this channel before, or you're one of the people who calls me like a wet wipe or something on this channel, I'm someone who I love stats. I think that they can be misleading at points, however, but I love looking into the details of them. I love looking into the sort of the overlying metrics. I look at someone who, how they compare an attacking sense to a defensive sense. What can they offer to the team? And I do think that sometimes they can be misleading or they can inflate an opinion on a player. And I do think Curtis Jones is one of those players who he has been a beneficiary of the statistics this season from my perspective. I love Jones, and I think he is a very, very good player for Liverpool. I think he is a jack of all trades. This season as well, I've enjoyed seeing the maturity come out of him a bit more. I've enjoyed seeing him step up and take that leadership role. He has really imprinted himself as one of the key characters in that Liverpool team when we've been going through these losing streaks, and Carragher was making the comment of, you don't see Salah stepping up and having these media meetings and coming out and addressing the press after a loss, whereas Jones makes no bare bones about it. He will come out and say, look, we've been awful. We've been crap. We've not been good enough. We need to improve. He says it how it is, and I love that. I love that Jones has stepped up into that role and that mantle. I like the fact that he's bided his time, and when he does play this season, he's been impactful in a creative sense, in a defensive sense. There's still the concerns, obviously, he does hold onto the ball a bit too much, and there's a lot of talk of, he's a very sideways player. The same sort of stuff that got through at Jordan Henderson. And I'm not saying that Jones is to Henderson's level. He could be above it. He could be the same. I don't know. It's entirely up for people to debate. But I think if you're looking at a squad right now, you look at this Liverpool team as a whole, there is not a vast amount of depth in this Liverpool team. You have your starting 11, let's say, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch. For me at the moment, Jones, but you could say McAllister's in there. Beyond that, let's say if it's McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch in that midfield, who are you bringing off the bench? Wirtz is being used as a left winger at points. Of course, he's there as well. There is not a lot of depth, and you need a squad. And I think Jones, while he isn't someone who sets the world on fire with 10 out of 10 performances week in, week out, he's not the most wonderful player to look at in terms of his output of goals and assists. It's what he does off the ball. It's the work rate. It's the rotation with Kerkez at left back to provide cover for him. It's the rotation with whoever the single pivot is or the double pivot, allowing Gravenberch to go forward. The way that he can sometimes play between the lines, and he's happy to get in attacking positions. Jones is a player. He plays like, and I said this a few times in the past, if you were to get a Liverpool fan and you slapped a kit on them and said, right, get on that pitch. If you went to one of us and said, right, put the kit on, go play. Jones plays like a fan. He plays like he cares, and he does. And I love the fact that he's just someone who you can stick him anywhere, and he's a James Milner style player. Stick him wherever, he will put in a shift for you. Yeah, like the comment says here, Probably better for Jones if he goes somewhere to play all the time. Homegrown player serving as good backup/sub. Last couple of games, he shows why he will not be a starter. And Jones got his first assist of the season against Burnley. He just doesn't have enough output. A good squad player, but never shown he's a first-team player. I disagree personally. I think he has shown why he could be a first-team player. He has been a first-team player for the majority of the season. Actually, if you're looking at let's look at the Liverpool minutes per match. Where does Curtis Jones rank? Curtis Jones ranks at 11.8 full 90 minutes in the Premier League. That's, ahead of Jeremy Frimpong. Of course, he's had injuries. Actually, he's fairly low down, fair enough. But he started a good few recently, Curtis Jones. And I think that it's probably more sentimentality, but I just think there is a place for him in this squad. If he comes on, I'm not nervous. If he starts, I'm not nervous. I know that he's going to be able to control the ball. I know that he's going to be able to offer, he's a composed figure, is what I'm trying to say. He's someone who, if you put him in the single pivot or double pivot, he will provide you with the necessary cover that you need. But I do hear the concerns of the output. 1 assist this season is not enough, but that's because that's not what Jones' role is. Jones' role is to be almost like a Ryan Gravenberch from last season in a sense, where it's not get the goals and assists. It's not your output. It's keep the game ticking along. It's keep the game moving. If we need to recycle the ball, Jones is one of the best in the squad at doing it. If you need someone who can transition from defense to attack very quickly, Jones is one of those players who can do it. I think he's a victim of when he first came into this Liverpool squad and he scored that goal against Everton in the FA Cup, and it was amazing to see. He scores against Aston Villa, is a brilliant player. I think the expectations were set too high for Jones. And there were people saying, he's going to be a long-term midfielder. He's going to play every single match. He's been unfortunate with injuries. He's come in now and he's realized, he's not that caliber of player, but he's so instrumental in that midfield. And like I said before, in a Ryan Gravenberch style role where he will keep the game ticking along. He will keep the game moving. He will keep things going in our favor. And like you said, it's not his shooting talents. That's not why we've got Curtis Jones in this team, because his shooting stats are awful. It's this. It's the overall control of the game that Curtis Jones gives you. And he can hold on to the game for far too long. But in the same breath, look at that. 9.07 passes into the final third, which if you're ranking it off of this metric, let me just see if I can find it on the overall for the overall squad. Playing time, no. Miscellaneous stat, no. Looking for the passing stats on Curtis Jones here. Pass type, passes into the final third. I'll keep trying to find it, but Jones is a very important player as a whole for this club. Not in terms of starting every single match, but he's a good squad player to have. And it's all well and good of saying, well, he's not good enough to be a starter. He's not a starter. Yeah, that's fine. But you have your starting 11 who it's so difficult to dislodge. You need players who can come in behind them and still put in a good shift, still provide something for this club. I'm trying to find the passes into the final third, and I'm really, really struggling to find it at the moment. Where does this rank on the Liverpool spectrum thing? So we are in passing, yes. So let me go to the passing section for Liverpool, pass types. That's through balls. Passes into the final third. There we go. Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones actually ranks 5th in the Liverpool squad for passes into the final third. So if we're looking at that as a whole, the players that are currently ahead of him, Virgil van Dijk, because obviously of his long balls, he's on 200. Dominic Szoboszlai, 122. Goes after the contract talk. Ibrahim Konate, centre-back. Ryan Gravenberch, 117. And then Jones is on 98. He's got more than Alexis McAllister, Milos Kerkez, Florian Wirtz, Bradley, Robertson, Gakpo, Salah. I understand that a lot of them are attacking players, but Jones is instrumental in that regard. Only 2 passes into the penalty area. Passes into the penalty area from Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones has 20 passes into the penalty area currently. He's currently 4th in the Liverpool squad. Let me just see if I can get that up for you now. Bear with me 1 second. If I go to the Liverpool stats here, there we go. This is the passes into the penalty area. Passes completed into the 18-yard box, not including set pieces. And that one there That's Cody Gakpo. Curtis Jones is ahead of him. Curtis Jones has 20 passes into the final third, ranking 4th in that metric for Liverpool. So he is someone who is capable of going back and recycling the ball, but he's also someone who is capable of influencing the game going forward. We saw that in the Fulham match, the Gakpo ball that he put through, which everyone looked shocked. Everyone looked stunned that someone actually played that ball because he'll take that risk. And that's something we need. There's a few mixed responses. So Jones is a squad player. Yeah, he is a squad player, but I think that's fine. I'd rather Curtis Jones as a squad player than an Naby Keita or an Oxlade-Chamberlain or someone of that regard or an Endo. I'd rather Jones in the squad because he's very versatile and I love what he represents. He's one of us. He's passionate. He's energetic. He's aggressive. I want people like that. When he's going up to Decore for going to the fans, Jones immediately is straight on him. I want that passion. I want that in the team. I want someone who is like that in this club, who understands what it means to represent Liverpool Football Club. He is a fan in a shirt, but he plays so intelligently at moments and he controls the ball. And I love that. I love what he brings to this club. He just will not be a consistent starter, but I agree. FSJ are better at keeping homegrown players that can at least be dependable cover. We can't afford to let Jones leave due to the homegrown quota. That seems to be a big thing that people are mentioning a lot of. Jones on the left in the 4-3-3 was brilliant at the end of the 22-23 season. A very clever player who was given a platform to shine. We touched on that before with Szoboszlai. Because of Szoboszlai's excellent work in the deep positions, players like Vert and Ekitike have been able to push forward. Jones keeps things ticking along. He recycles the ball well. He gives us possession. We're in the top 6. We are the only club in the Premier League with above 60% possession. We haven't done a lot with it, but sometimes you need people to just take the sting out of the match, win the ball, get it off to the defenders, and then rotate. He will allow Kerkez to push forward because he can cover left back. He will allow Vert to go forward because he stays deep in the double pivot and allows Gravenberch to push forward. I love when Jones does that. He's a very versatile player. Jones is a great ball carrier, which is one of his biggest strengths. We let Jones leave, then do we spend 80, 90 million on a Wharton or an Anderson? I don't... the issue... So, for comparison, Adam Wharton has never scored a goal for Palace. Yeah. Jones is like a Nicky Butt at United, very important squad player. Jones is just a squad player who thinks he's Zidane and also thinks he's playing five-a-side. He takes no responsibility for affecting the game whatsoever, 2-yard passes or game. Okay, so let's have a look at the long balls played by the Liverpool squad. Statistically, in terms of long balls played, Curtis Jones ranks, trying to do maths, he's around 10th. Let's just say that, for example. He's just one beneath Florian Wirtz, more than Bradley, more than Salah, more than Gakpo. Actual ones completed, he ranks 5th in the Liverpool squad on 45, ahead of Alexis McAllister, ahead of Florian Wirtz, ahead of Ryan Gravenberch. I personally don't believe that then, the 2-yard passes all game, but I understand on the eye it looks like that. Xabi Alonso, no plans to make a small pause from coaching unless Liverpool come for him. He would immediately accept to coach Liverpool as he really loves the club. There's reports saying something like he wants to wait till June, and I think that's the right thing to do. By then the season will be done. Liverpool can assess what the way going forward is. Are they going to stick with Slot? Are they going to bring Alonso in? We will look at that. I was looking at per game. That's that you showed earlier. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Per game, yeah, two per game. Absolutely fine. I get that. But that's not his role in the game. He should do it more. I understand that. But when you've got Szoboszlai dominating that metric and you've got McAllister and Wirtz and all these other players whose role is specifically to get the ball into the box, Jones doesn't do it as much. But like he said here, Jones is very possession-based without purpose, barely ever wins a 50-50, and the fact he's such a regular starter shows the audacity of the squad. He produces so little given his talent. I just don't agree with it. I really personally don't agree with it, and I can back it up here as well. But I get it. It's not appealing on the eye, and it feels very sort of Slot style, doing a lot but getting very little of it. But I think Jones is a good squad player to have, and I keep saying that over and over. It's not an insult. You need those players for depth. If we don't get top 4, then we don't buy big in the summer, so Jones needs to stay. He is playing by instruction. I'd rather see Jones in there than Maka at the minute. 99 pass completion, all 2 yards. What are Jones's tackling figures? So that's a very good point. What are Curtis Jones' tackling figures? Well, it's not the greatest read, let's be honest. So let's get them cast up on the screen for Curtis Jones, because this is a bit of a weakness. When I say he's aggressive, he gets stuck into tackles, but it very rarely does come off. And you can see here, 2.22 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes, 0.83 clearances. It feels as though he's never in a position to sort of track back and defend. He always feels that little bit ahead of the back line, but just behind midfield. He's a strange sort of role that he finds himself in at the moment. And where does he rank in terms of the actual defensive work for the squad? So challenges attempted, he is currently 9th in the Liverpool squad, attempting 18, and he's won 11 of them, which gives him a tackle success rate of 61.1, which ranks 6th in the Liverpool squad. But he has also lost 7, which is in the same area, ranks 6th in the squad. Tackles won in the... Oh, so itchy today. Tackles won overall, Curtis Jones, he ranks 7th in the squad. Tackles in the defensive third, 7th again. Tackles in the midfield third, he ranks 6th, and tackles in the attacking third, he also ranks 5th. So he's sort of middle of the road, mid-table, so to speak, maybe lower end of mid-table for a starting 11. That's, you know, in that area. We have no squad depth, and we're trying to sell players, make it make sense. Wirtz plays so much better with Jones in the midfield. I personally agree. I think Angelo Stiller is a good fit for us. Angelo Stiller, yeah, he's been getting linked to us. He's been getting linked to Real Madrid also. So he's another player who expect to see him move this summer. I've not seen anything saying Alonso would come now to LFC. I've only seen he wants to wait for offers in the summer. That's what I touched on before. He wants to wait until June, apparently, assess his options, see where he is. The club might decide to stick with Slot. We just have to sort of accept that reality. The Liverpool players need a proper mental break after this Shota-affected season. Makes sense that Alonso takes over in the summer, but they'll be fresh to take in fresh information. Well, I think this is another reason to sort of, before we leave off, why Jones may be looking to leave possibly in the summer, is that video of Curtis Jones and Slot on the touchline in the Burnley match, and Jones just does not look very amused at all by what Slot is saying. You know, they're talking about positioning on the pitch. They're talking about, you know, where am I going? What am I doing? And yeah, the problem I've got is how do I put this? I said it on Redman yesterday, and it came across so poor when I was trying to explain my rationale for Slot. Slot is not a likable character. Now, you don't have to be. Mourinho was not a likable character, but he achieved things. He won league titles. He won trophy galore. Slot won the Premier League, of course, but the last thing he can afford to do is alienate key members of the dressing room. And I think Jones, for all that people will discuss on the pitch, you know, he's a 2-yard passer, he's this, he's that, he's not that important to the squad. Behind the scenes, he is one of the voices of this club. He is one of the leaders in that dressing room at the moment. He's one of the biggest influencers, both on and off the pitch, for Liverpool Football Club. I think in terms of what he represents, who he is, the fact that he will speak out against things, the fact that he's happy to come out and say, look, we've been poor, we've been this. The worst thing you can do is alienate against a homegrown player, I think, for Slot, because at a time where all criticism is on Slot, or I'd say 80% is, most fans are going to go to the homegrown player in Curtis Jones, a Scouser in our team now, and I think they're going to go, right, he's getting frustrated, we are frustrated, Jones is in the right. Slot cannot afford to sort of alienate players and characters like that in the team, and he is someone who I feel as though his tactics, there's a struggle in translation. You can see the lack of cohesion in the squad. You can see just how little things link up well at the moment. And this whole, you know, confrontational side, it could literally be nothing. It happens day in and day out in football. We see it all the time. But Slot just needs to be careful now with who he decides to ostracize from this team, when you've got McAllister, who's been in poor form. No guarantee he's going to stick around either. He's another player. You've got Endo, who's probably going to be going. You're going to lose a lot of players in this team probably in the summer. Jones is one of the people that he would be happy to stick around. You can't be ostracizing him or getting in conflict with him. And that video of him and Slot not sort of agreeing on things, it could be nothing, but it could also be a sort of sign of deeper rooted issues in the squad at the moment. And maybe that's the reason why Jones is saying, look, he's more vocal now. He's more narrative span in the media. He's someone who is coming out and saying things aren't right. Things aren't good at the club. Because maybe they're not. So, there could be signs of deeper lying issues. And I don't want Jones to go, especially not to Tottenham, to a rival, so to speak. But I want Jones to stay. And there's the final comment before we go. They've all caught Jones sighted short passes and nobody like Diaz taking responsibility. Even Grava's caught it. I think that's how you're coached. I think that's how you're coached. I think that's the way in which Slot has coached this team and players to play. And Jones is a beneficiary of it because it suits him. Jones is one of the players who this short-range passing and controlling the ball and recycling it over and over again and dictating tempo and maintaining possession, it suits his style of play more than it does an Alexis McAllister, so to speak, this season in particular. And I think Jones is a very big beneficiary of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's happy. And I don't want Jones to leave. So we need to really take that with a pinch of salt. Do we think Jones is going to Tottenham? I don't think he is. I think there will just be genuine interest. They've just signed Conor Gallagher, so are they going to? Probably not. But yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up here today. Main talking headlines, of course, Szoboszlai in contract talks. Curtis Jones to Tottenham. There's discussions over it, supposedly. They've had an interest. I'm not buying it personally, but I don't want Jones to go. Other than that, we've got Marseille tomorrow, so that's going to be a big deciding factor in what happens next. But yes, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think Jones should stay? Do you think Jones should go? Make sure to click like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Check out the Substack. It was always Liverpool.com for the latest articles. Make sure you go check out Eddie's today, where he was talking about Dominic Szoboszlai. It's a brilliant read. And I will see you all in the next stream. Have a nice day.